Hey guys, how's everybody doing out there? Want to welcome you to the live broadcast. We're doing an update on the severe weather, and I hope this was titled right. Let's see. Yeah, I'm using some new software, so I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't titled severe weather coverage because we're not starting severe weather coverage, not yet anyway. We've got a lot to talk about. This is probably going to be a longer live stream, so just a heads up. We're going to get into some science and we're going to look at some computer models and computer data. And we're also going to analyze our atmosphere. We're just going to look at a lot of different things because I definitely think there's severe weather potential today. I think it's definitely a lot higher risk than what we saw Sunday. And so that's something we just need to talk about, and I'm going to break down and I'll explain why. I noticed one thing, and I'm sure you've noticed it as well. It's very windy out there. And when it comes to being so windy and having a severe weather threat, those combinations, unfortunately, they don't work together. So, for the better is what I should say. When it's windy, that's pretty good indication that your wind fields are rocking up there. And I will tell you, they are. So, let's break down this first. And I want to get started with looking at our Skyscan Doppler. I want to take a look here. And hang on one second. Give me just a second here. I'm going to fix that. Had an advertisement running over my, clock up at the top for my radar. That was odd. Um, so what we could see is we're seeing some showers and some thunderstorms. There was some severe thunderstorm warnings in Northwest Arkansas. That has kind of fallen apart, and the reason for that is because there's some limiting factors above us right now, especially in Northwest Arkansas. We don't really have much daytime heating. We're starting to get a little bit of it, but not much. And so these thunderstorms have had a lack of instability way right near the surface. And that's going to change. But so far, these thunderstorms have not gotten all that strong. There were some severe thunderstorm warnings over here in Oklahoma, but as they shifted east, for the most part, they have fallen apart. There's a little bit of hail up there near Siloam Springs, but for the most part, these just aren't real strong thunderstorms. But that's going to change, and I'll explain why. So here's the line of thunderstorms. We're starting to see it. We're starting to see some extra development. But the big story is not going to be right now. It's going to be this afternoon, and that's what attention is on. So I know people are at work, so I'm gonna try and make this as quick as possible because I don't want to interfere with people working and jobs. But this is a severe weather threat that we need to talk about. As you can see, I'm here in the weather center and I will be here all day. I'm off work today. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm gonna be monitoring, looking at radar all the time. So plus we have a now new software. We can see comments again. Finally, I got that fixed. So we see Karen is checking in. She says, watching. Welcome, Karen. Feel free to comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And I also noticed we're watching and have people on YouTube. So that's awesome. Trying out the YouTube streaming service, and it seems to be working pretty well. But Skyscan Doppler looking clear for our area. Not expecting much in the way of severe weather right now. However, over the next several hours, that is going to change. Let's go to Max and let's take a look. And what do we have? Well, according to our risk, we've got a high risk. That is a 5 out of 5. That's the highest severe weather risk that you can have in the state of Arkansas. Okay. But that's not for our area. We don't even have a moderate risk. We have an enhanced risk. But looking at newest data, I would not be surprised if we see some kind of expansion of that moderate risk. I can't confirm that, but I'll show you some data that makes me think that the severe weather risk is increasing for our area. And I would not be surprised if we do see some kind of an upgrade to a moderate risk. It's not going to shock me. So, and the reason for that is because of the wind fields. The wind fields are strong, our instability is strong. There's a lot of things that are playing and are going to come in and be a factor of the severe weather. So let's break it down. So we've got that high risk. That's for Jonesboro over towards Pine Bluff, out of our coverage area. Moderate risk includes Little Rock, and then, but you notice Van Buren County is not in that moderate risk. Then you have an enhanced risk, which does include all of Searcy County and all of Van Buren County. So what this tells me is the worst severe weather is going to be off to our northeast, which is great. Not for Northeast Arkansas, but for us, that is good news. However, I still think we have a threat, and I think we need to be keeping a close eye on this. Again, I think the severe weather risk is the threat is higher today than what it was on Sunday. So just keep that in mind. There was a few things that was limiting on Sunday, and today things look like they're going to come together where we won't have much that could limit. Now, there's still a chance this bust. There's always that chance, always that opportunity. And I hope that's what happens. But looking at what I'm seeing from the atmosphere, I don't see signs that this would bust. But again, it could. So, what are we thinking timing wise? Well, let's take a look because I know everybody wants to know. And the models have been back and forth. There's no consistency with the models whatsoever. Earlier, they were showing not much development at all. And now they're starting to kick up and pick up on the severe thunderstorms. And I like to use the HRRR. I don't think it's the most accurate in terms of intensity, but I think it does a good job on timing. So, let's look at this. What are we expecting? Let me mute this because I don't want that to make noise. All right. So here's what we got. This is the newest computer model. And so what are we seeing right now across the state? Well, we're seeing thunderstorms. They're kind of, you know, dying out. And that's exactly what this computer model is showing. You can see maybe some rumbles of thunder in northwest Arkansas, but for the most part, at this time, I don't think there would be severe weather. But maybe a stronger thunderstorm or two. But watch what happens as we get closer to the afternoon time. We're getting that daytime heating. We're starting to fuel up. We're getting the instability. Watch as this line starts to build. You'll notice quickly we start to see an increase in coverage. And according to the Storm Prediction Center, they're stating as storms move east, they're going to rapidly get stronger. That's their wording. So we can see that right around 1 o'clock, we could be dealing with some severe weather just to our west. So the previous questions was do we get severe weather to our west? Do we get severe weather to the east? Do we get it developing over us? Where do we get it? Well, I think in this case, it's already going to be developed and it's going to be to our west and it's going to be maturing west of our area, which means as it moves east, it's just going to get stronger, unfortunately. Again, I still think the strongest potential is in Northeast Arkansas, but I certainly think we have a severe weather threat today. Like, I definitely do. So this is at 1 o'clock. Now watch what happens as we get closer to that 2 o'clock time frame. We're starting to see some rumbles of thunder developing. We're going to have to watch any storms that isolate themselves with this environment could easily rotate and rotate pretty fast. So that's something we are watching very close. If this is more into a line linear, then you would have to think that the damaging wind threat would increase, tornado threat would go down some. That would be more of a quick spin up. And then your hail threat would also it would be, I would say, a medium. But watch what happens as we get closer to now we're at 2 o'clock. So I think we're starting to deal with some severe weather. I think there's severe thunderstorm warnings across the state right now at this point of 2 o'clock. But watch as we get closer. All right, we'll stop it here at 3 p.m. It's going to be these kind of cells. Now, don't take it literally the exact location, but if we get a isolated cell in Searcy County up around 3 o'clock, there is definitely damaging hail would be a major concern. But not only that there is a tornado threat. And according to the National Weather Service on their tornado probability map. Now, I think this is because we've got that high risk, but they went with a high tornado risk for today. Now, I think the high risk would be Northeast Arkansas, but I certainly think that we are above the medium risk. I don't think we're high risk for us in terms of tornadoes, but I certainly think we're above medium. We're elevated medium, if that makes sense. So, and that's something to note. I'm not trying to concern anybody or scare anybody, but I'm just telling you that the atmosphere is going to be supportive of severe weather. If you go outside right now, it feels stormy. I mean, it really feels stormy. Now, let's go back here. So this is at 3 o'clock, and I will show you some more data here in just a second. And by 4 o'clock, I think we're dealing with severe thunderstorms all across Searcy County, Van Buren County. I would almost bet we're going to be under some kind of severe thunderstorm warning, if not a tornado warning, if storms can isolate themselves. This is going to be a very strong line, and I can't say that lightly. So, that's just something we're going to have to continue to watch. Let me get a drink of water real quick, guys. Sorry. Voice is struggling just what? Okay, so here's what we've got. So let's go back to this. So this is at 4 o'clock. Watch, this line continues to form, continues to be strong, and then kind of isolates, breaks itself up. And I think that's where the tornado threat would be increasing for Northeast Arkansas. So, what are we looking at in terms of risk? Well, let's look at a couple things. We're going to look at what's called the significant tornado perimeter, which does not mean that areas you see with activity would indicate, you know, areas that you see elevated here doesn't mean we're going to see significant tornadoes in the area. That's not what this means. But what it does tell us is that ingredients, if storms do develop and can take advantage of this, they would have the potential to become strong and could be tornadic. We will see. It just depends. There's a lot of wind shear above us, and I can't, I'm just telling you guys this. I'm just being honest with you here. Again, I want to stress this. I think the worst storms will be Northeast Arkansas with the high risk. But I certainly think we have a threat here. 100% think we have a threat. So this is at 11 a.m. And watch what happens. That's what we're going to have to watch for. You remember the time here? 3 o'clock, right? You remember that 3 o'clock time frame? Did you not see that isolated cell in Searcy County? Because I sure did. Don't take it literally. Do not, because timing can be off, and there's a lot of things that can, be incorrect with the model guidance. But what I can see is that this model's indicating if a cell isolates itself right around 3, 4 o'clock in Searcy County or Van Buren County, that it has the potential to rotate. So here's what I want you to know. Number one, I know there's concern about kids being at school. Administrators are already watching the weather, keeping a very close eye on this, okay? So please be aware of that. If you're talking about Marshall, Marshall has a safe room. There's a safe location to go. Every campus we have, there is a location where students can go safely. So my recommendation is if you're looking at the weather and you're like, it's fixing to storm and it's fixing to get bad 2, 3 o'clock, I would highly recommend you do not be traveling and go pick up your kid because they're safer at school than if they were on the roadway. So just keep that in mind. I just want to encourage you, especially if you're at the high school. We've got a safe room, and that safe room is rated a full-blown safe room. So just keep that in mind. Clinton, there's also safe places, things like that. So, and like I said, district administrators, they're watching very closely. They're identifying the best route to go, and I think they will make the best decisions. So, is the safe room open to the public while school is in session? Great question here. In terms of the safe room for Marshall, yes. At the high school, yes. Now, students and staff get priority, but that safe room is unlocked to the public. So if the public wants to go to the safe place or safe room, that is perfectly fine. All right. So, like I said, we're just going to have to watch because I think as storms move east, they get stronger. Now, we're not done. Let's continue on here. So watch. I think by 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, we're done. We are done with the severe weather threat. Maybe not 5 o'clock, maybe closer to 6, 7, somewhere in there. Timing's a little bit off right now. But here's what we're seeing. If storms isolate, we get isolated supercells or isolated thunderstorms in northern Van Buren County, Searcy County, then we're going to have to watch this. We're going to have to watch this very close. Storm fuel. Do we have storm fuel? Well, unfortunately, it's a little bit lower right now, but watch what happens. According to this computer model, it's showing we could see over 2,000 CAPE at 3 o'clock, which is going to be supportive of severe weather. And so that's why I really, truly think that if we see storms isolate themselves and, factors come together just right, there's definitely a severe weather threat today. So we've got that enhanced risk. I would not personally, again, I'm not going to be shocked if they upgrade it to a moderate risk. I would not be shocked on that. But they could just keep it enhanced. We'll see. They do have, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, I'm just trying to prepare you. They do have what's called a SPC hatched area, which basically means that areas in the hatched area could experience long track tornadoes. EF2 or greater is what that means. And we do have hatched area over us. So not saying we're going to see an EF2, EF3 tornado. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm seriously wanting I want people to understand the environment will be supportive of supporting tornadoes. damaging winds, and hail. All of that is definitely possible today. So just be aware of that. So just keep that in mind. Here's another thing I want to look at is what's called the updraft helicity. And basically what the updraft helicity is, with updrafts, that would be large hail, and um that'd be large hail, and then the potential where you could see your stronger tornadoes. The stronger the updraft, the more concern you have. And I'll show you why they've got that, high risk in Northeast Arkansas. Watch what happens. So we're going to stop this at 2 o'clock. Now watch. This is at 4 o'clock. I think regardless of a tornado risk, I think there's a damaging hail risk too. I think some of this hail could be large. It wouldn't surprise me if we start getting reports of baseball size hail. Now, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Because previously we were expecting on Sunday baseball size hail, and we saw almost 2-inch hail in Searcy County. But there was still limiting factors. Today, there's not much limiting. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's a lot that's coming to play for severe weather. I hope things change, but right now, the atmosphere does look supportive. The only thing that is going against severe weather right now is the cap. We are capped. We have a very strong cap. But it's likely as this front pushes through, it's going to break that cap, and thunderstorms are going to rapid develop. So that's just, another thing to note. And when I'm using the terminology rapid, they actually use that terminology. So let's continue to look because this is at 4 o'clock. So I think regardless of the tornado threat, the damaging wind risk, there's certainly a hail risk. So if you have vehicles, please park them in garages. Please park them somewhere where the hail will not hit them. And then again, by the 6, 7 o'clock time frame, I think it's out of here. I think it's done. So computer models indicating church should not be a problem this afternoon or evening for our area. I don't think there's a reason to cancel services. At least it doesn't look that way right now. That could change, but I really think our time frame is going to be 3, 4 o'clock-ish, somewhere in there. So, and a lot of your church services, 6, 7 o'clock. So regardless, you need to be weather aware. You need to be keeping a very close eye on this today. I will be here. I'm in the Weather Center all day. I'll be looking at computer models, data. I got all my college done late last night so that I can specifically focus on the weather today. So, what is affecting weather? Hail is increased risk with supercells later around 2, 3. It's going to be on the updraft potential. The updraft increases, and that's what causes the hail to increase. And I think there's definitely potential that updraft is going to be very strong. And we see that on the computer models. So bottom line, have a way of getting warnings today. Okay. So according to what we're seeing from Jamie, he says no safe room at Shirley School District and releasing early at 12:40. See, releasing at 12:40, I think is a very smart decision. Early releasing is smart. Releasing during the time of the storms or right before is not. So a 12:40 release, I think that is a smart move. But if schools do have safe locations to go, then I don't encourage early release because I think the student would be safer at the school than at a house that doesn't have a safe place or not a very strong structure. So that's my personal opinion. It's just kind of fill it out. And district administrators are making decisions, and I truly believe they're going to make the best decisions. So to keep the students safe, because number one, students is 100% their priority. Their safety is their priority. So, but I think if a school does have a safe location to go, then I would not encourage early release. If they don't, for instance, Shirley, then yes, early release would not be a bad idea. So, all right. Real quick, recap on timing, because I want to jump back into this. Also, wind shear, I want you to see this, okay? This is what we got going on. The winds are already rocking, but the winds are fixing to increase even more. Watch as we get close to this right there. That 3 o'clock time frame, that's elevated wind shear. If the models continue to show this, now don't take it literally the exact location, but I would not be surprised if 3 o'clock we are tracking some kind of a tornado warning anywhere between Van Buren and Searcy County. So here's an update. 3, 4 o'clock, I think that's when this storm develops. Isolated storms are going to have to be watched for a tornado threat, but by the afternoon, evening, we're done with this. When do you plan on covering Thursday's weather conditions and threats? Once we get through, may do a live stream. Let's see. Um, Probably do a live stream this evening after church, probably closer to like 9 o'clock, 9:30, somewhere in there, to address Thursday's event. But right now, my main focus is just on today. Um, Thursday doesn't look all that intense. At least it doesn't right now. I think this is the big day, is what I think. I think there's also a severe weather threat on Friday, and then potentially a severe weather threat on Saturday. But regardless of the severe weather threat, guys, we're gonna get some rain. I'll tell you what, let's look at that because let's just go ahead and pull this real fast. What we got, everybody here? Um, let's go. Let's do the blend, which basically takes a bunch of computer models together, right? And indicates. So let's look precipitation total. Don't take it literally the exact locations here, but take a look at the rainfall totals. This is through, let's see, April 6th. So Sunday. This is through Sunday. Uh, you know, 7 to 8 inches of rain, even more is possible. So this is something we are going to be watching. A lot of heavy rain, lots of heavy rain expected. Blaze, do you think the tornado watch for us in Perry County and Central Arkansas gets upgraded from the tornado watch to PDS watch? So it'll be issued for Eastern Arkansas this afternoon. That's a great question. So it's definitely possible. I was looking at the soundings earlier from Central to Eastern, and there's certainly PDS tornado soundings coming out. Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Um, I wouldn't even be surprised if, they've got the tornado watch in effect for northern Arkansas till about 4 o'clock. I bet it's after that 4 o'clock. I bet it's after that we would see some kind of a PDS tornado watch. I certainly think, given that we've got a high risk in the state, they will definitely go PDS tornado watch because the high risk seems to be driven off of tornadoes. Even the National Weather Service, they're going high risk tornado. So, someone said rain in Morning Star. Let's look at that. Let's look. Let's see. We got any rain popping up? We do actually. Let's take a look at that real fast. Little bit of rain here. Kind of developed. Just goes to show you our atmosphere is ready for storms. Now, will this prohibit the severe weather threat? No, no, no. This is not even close to enough rain to even do anything to this. You might cool off just for a few and then it'll get right back warm. So, biggest thing is if you see sunshine, then that's a concern. But even then, the atmosphere is very supportive of severe weather today. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm about ready to end this live stream. We are watching this here. Just got through raining and welcome home. I fully expect as this line pushes east, you can actually see it was more of a line and now it looks more isolated in nature. It's going to be the cells that isolate in nature. That's what we're going to have to watch for. I think isolated cells have a higher tornado risk than I think they form into a line and they shift east. And I think that's going to be the big story today. So, but I am assuming high risk. Actually, look at that. Boom. Already starting to see a little bit of activity picking up. Severe thunderstorm warning in Oklahoma. Not Arkansas, but Oklahoma. But you see, look at the track on this. See where we're tracking? If you like to watch the radar, I'd certainly start watching this line right here, this band. All the way from south of Tahlequah down to Hugo. I think I said that right. Start watching this line right here as this shifts east. That's going to be what we're going to have to watch for. It's going to be that area where I think thunderstorms really start to tense up. And I think they move east. And then I think they're very strong because I think they're already mature. And then I think we've got our severe weather threat. So, yeah, I potentially think it's going to be a severe weather outbreak in Northeast Arkansas. And I certainly think there's severe weather for us. I think it's likely. And I don't use that terminology very often to say likely on severe weather, but the setup today just favors it. Now, again, there's always that possibility it just busts. And I really hope that happens. But what I see does not indicate any kind of bust. So this storm is getting really strong really fast. Matter of fact, the winds, let's look at this here. We can see that the winds are really starting to pick up with this particular thunderstorm and it's shifting off to the northeast. So, all right, guys. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning into this broadcast. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll be ready to go live if thunderstorms get going. We'll see y'all later. We'll see you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.